It's a beautiful rainy day outside. What better opportunity right now than to do some art? So today I decided to work with some coloured pencils. A while ago I was painting a theme with oil paintings of portraits where there was a sense of water that drips on the portraits' faces, like some of the images that you can see on the screen now. I decided why not have a go doing that with my pencil drawing today. Here is a photograph that I took of a friend who allowed me to pour some water on her head, no idea why. And what I find interesting about this image is the way the water creates all these refractions, these bright colours, and it's quite an illusion to try to depict. So to get started, all you're going to need is some white paper and some coloured pencils, probably a ruler and a lead pencil. First thing I did is I opened up my image. I made sure it was the right proportions, the right scale, according to the paper that I was using, and then cropped that on my iPad. I opened up the Grid app. I set my grid parameters. I think I went 5 grids per side, and then I began my portrait. I started by gridding up my page, and I just calculated 5 per side. The best way I found was to measure the width of the page, the height of the page, and I divided it. The next thing I started to do was to draw in the darkest areas. Even though I had this abundance of coloured pencil, this is a big stock that I've been collecting over time, I decided instead to focus on tone. So I picked up a dark brown pencil and I just did some shading of the face. You can notice here that I'm trying to get the subtle nuances of the skin tones, where I can capture some dark areas, some mid-tones and some highlights. I find this the most difficult thing about drawing with pencil, because when I'm painting I can start from a dark background, but for this time I need to start from a white background, and it's harder to get those darks in with pencil. The next thing I started to do, which was a little bit scary, was to put in colour. So I started with the nose and I added lots of reds and bright colours. Now, as I started doing this, I was thinking, oh no, I'm ruining this portrait. But the reality is that if you start with one colour and you put it in all throughout the drawing where it's really nice and integrated, then actually it starts to balance itself out. So it's very, very bright colours, but it's beginning to build itself up. So in the end, I found that I was running out of time. So I actually got myself a brush, got some water, I got a little bit of watercolour, and I quickly painted that background. This helped to try create more of a separation between the subtle tones that I worked on for the face with this deep saturated background. In the end, if I had more time, I would have loved to continue working on this portrait, but sometimes you've just got to call it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope this has inspired you to go and do the same.